is Lady Maya. I am here with Richard herself, Griffin, going by Ricky. And so we are speaking in regards to the book that he has, the manual, and it's Gain, Respect, Opportunity, and Wisdom. A man, capital, you all for men. And I loved it. And I said, okay, I definitely got to talk to him. He's very in tune to his manhood, and he's actually helping others with their manhood as well. So you can say hello, Mr. Ricky, to
Hello,
people.
Maya. It's nice to meet you.
And so it's like we got into a conversation, and you guys, I had to put the recorder button on. Okay, it just had to happen. So when you see a little bit jumping around or anything like that, that's only because there's so many golden nuggets in this conversation. Just allowing people to see and understand what the premise in his talk and his message is, for people to understand, to really look inside, and not just people. Hopefully we can gain the attention of men, real men, real men, that are struggling with things, maybe possibly on the inside or even mentally. So we definitely want to have them have this opportunity to be very, very much um, mentored by this awesome gentleman, Mr. Ricky. Woohoo!
I appreciate that. I don't get called awesome too much. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
But we were talking in regards to his manual, and I have some tidbits. And so you know what? If you want to do an introduction of the book, I totally would have no qualms with that at all.
Okay. The name of the manual, I call it a manual for men, and the name of it is G.R.O.W. That's an acronym, and it stands for Gain Respect, Opportunities, and Wisdom. Excuse me, let me say that again. I'm really congested today, so I apologize to your audience. Let me start again. The booklet I've written is called G.R.O.W. I call it a manual for men because it's very short. It's not very long, and it's split up into sections. The name of the manual is Gain Respect, Opportunities, and Wisdom. That's G.R.O.W. That's an acronym. And then it's called a manual for men. And man in manual is all capital letters. So that's the introduction to the manual that I've written and currently still working on. It's I guess you could say this is the first edition. I guess it's not the first edition until you write a second edition. I don't know, but anyway, and so that's what I have to offer, and I'm offering it to. If anyone wants to send me feedback, I have or if anyone would like a free PDF copy of the first two sections of the manual, if they're interested, they can actually email me at keepgoinggrow@gmail.com. That's keepgoinggrow. Because the name of my ministry is called Keep Going. So it's keepgoinggrow@gmail.com. If you email me that you would like to receive the first two sections, I'll gladly email them back to you if you promise to give me feedback on it. Because I email them to so many people and they forget to give me feedback. But anyway, I just take people at their word, and that's a free offer for me.
We have all that information in the description below. I would love for you guys to just like, subscribe, share, and comment. on this particular interview. If you guys are very much more interested, and I have offered Mr. Ricky a another segment. So if you guys have any questions, we can answer those in the next segment.
I was just saying I would love to answer your listeners' questions. I'm a big fan of podcasts, and if you'll just send me your information, I'd love to subscribe to yours.
Yes, I will certainly, and that was the hope. Okay, so I see that you gave me a story. If you would like to um, redo the story as to how you became able to even start this journaling.
Oh, okay. Okay. Absolutely. Well, uh, I have kind of a meandering path to writing this manual for men. Uh, Grow, gain respect, opportunities, and wisdom. A manual for men. So what happened was that my church had a showing of of the movie Unplanned, and there's a local pro-life pregnancy center in our town called Tomorrow's Hope Pregnancy Center. And so the showing of the movie Unplanned was it was a benefit. All of the proceeds were going, concession sales and ticket sales and all that. We're going to support Tomorrow's Hope. So me and the fam, we went, and I saw this movie, and it was a very powerful movie. If you've never seen the movie, I highly recommend that you get it on DVD or stream it or however you want to do it. So we watched the movie, and there was a part in the movie. There were several parts in the movie where I just could not. I couldn't handle it. I had to walk out for a few minutes and compose myself. Excuse me. So I come back in, compose myself, and my story is I'm a post-abortive father, and that's why the movie affected me so much. I know that's why the movie affected me so much. And when I say post-abortive father, what I mean is that my ex-wife had an abortion, and I had all of the emotions at the time and afterwards that go along with that. I felt powerless. I felt very, I felt guilt. I felt just hurt. And as men do, we stuff, we stuff inside. And I don't know if I don't know if you have video with this podcast, but if you'll imagine your hands in the center of your chest, pushing down, that's what I was doing. I had all of this hurt and this emotion on the inside of me, in my heart, and I was pushing it down. But at the same time, I was holding up these walls. You can't do this physically, by the way. So at the same time, I was holding up these spiritual walls. So you can't push down and hold up spiritual walls physically, but you can do it spiritually. Okay. So before I would even wake up I could get enough sleep. I could get a requisite amount of sleep. I could sleep 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day, but I would wake up and I would still feel exhausted. Well, the reason was that I had this spiritual pushing and holding up of walls even in my sleep that was happening. So even before I woke up, I had expended most of my spiritual energy. But as men do, we've got to man up. We've got to go on, and that's one of my least favorite phrases, man up. God, I wish we could find something better than that. But anyway, so you've expended most of your spiritual energy. So for the rest of the day, you're really just fighting against your own self to go on and do what's necessary for the day. So at the end of this movie, I was just tired. I was worn out. and I knew I had to do something. And I think I mentioned this before, is that one of the most powerful things that you can ever say to yourself is maybe. Maybe. Do you have your audio on? I can't hear you. Or
Yeah, no, I'm just living
okay.
it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you said something, and I was like, "Does she have her audio on?" Anyway, so one of the most powerful things that you can say to yourself is just maybe, and that's what I was thinking to myself. I didn't even know if it would work, because at the end of the movie they offered counseling. They said, if you have been affected by abortion, we have a sign-up sheet outside, and I just thought maybe this will work because I've gone to counseling. And maybe it was just timing. I don't know, whatever. But I just thought, you know what? I don't even know if this will work, but I am going to sign this sheet and see if this, because I was just, I mean, I was flat, just exhausted every single day, exhausted, carrying around this heavy burden. This spiritual pushing and holding up that I was doing. It was just, I didn't know exactly, and at the time I even signed it, I didn't even have this mental picture of pushing down and holding up these walls. I came about that later during counseling. I understood it better. But at the time, I just knew something was wrong. And I knew I had to do something. So I signed up for counseling, which went really well. And I mean, there was just so much freedom in going through the counseling sessions that I felt. One of the things I finally realized was that, you know what, my daughter, and I know she was a girl, I know that for a fact. My daughter who was aborted, I am still her father. She might not be here physically for me to hug and hold and kiss, but I am still her father, and I can still be her champion. I can still stand up.
Take your time.
I get a little emotional.
Nope, it's okay.
I can still stand up for her, even though I'm still her father. So, anyway, about midway through the counseling sessions, excuse me, about midway through the counseling sessions, they wanted me to journal. And I've written technical manuals before, which were really good technical manuals. They're like next generation technical manuals. I'm very proud of them, which is probably why they were ignored, because people might be saying, well, if they were so great, why were they ignored? Well, some things are so
Okay.
Boy, this is going to sound conceited. I just know it. But anyway, sometimes you can come up with something that's so advanced that at the time people can't see. I mean, when people conceived of the internet and you would go out on the street and tell people about it, people would be like, oh, yeah, okay, that's great, wonderful. But once the internet was in full force, it was a good thing. I mean, I'm talking to you on it. So, so my manual, I had written these technical manuals, and they didn't really go anywhere for whatever reason. And so my counselors wanted me to journal, and I thought, well, I'm just not really a big journaler. Yeah, and I tried to journal, and it was all, it was great. I do journal now. I mean, just to get that out of the way. I forced myself to do it. But at the time, I was thinking, well, I've written these technical manuals before, and I can, let me do that. Let me just try and write a manual. So I gave it a name, Grow, as you know, and started just putting down my thoughts, and it turned into something that was really good. And I went and showed it to my counselor, and they said, wow, this could really turn into a ministry. And I was kind of flabbergasted by that, for lack of a better term, because I wasn't really trying to, do a ministry. I was just trying to journal and write my thoughts down. And so they said, they encouraged me to keep it up, and it turned into this manual for men called Grow. So that's the genesis of where this idea came from.
Wow. See, and you guys, I mean, just because you go through something does not mean that's the end of all. Yes, you still have remnants to those things. I'm just letting you know that you got to deal with it head on, or it's going to try to destroy you. And you don't want that, and then you're no good, like you said, to no one.
Right.
You're no good to no one. And so that's,
One
yeah.
thing that I tell people, and after the first session of the post-abortive counseling, and this was just after one session, I mean, I just bawled like a baby. I had no, because as I'm walking in, I'm thinking, I don't know if this will work. I don't, blah, blah, blah. I really don't feel any emotion about it. But when we get in there and I start talking about it to these counselors, I mean, the emotion, the hurt, the pain, and it was painful. This hurt coming out of me was so painful. I mean, you probably could have shot me and it would have been less painful than this. But I mean, it was just coming right up through me, right out the top of that's the way it felt anyway. It came right out the top of my head. But and that's painful at the time. But the next day, I'm getting up out of my bed, and I'm thinking to myself, well, gee, wow, I really feel a lot better today. What's going on here? Feel like I got a lot more energy. I feel like I just feel good, and blah blah blah. And literally, it dawned upon me. It's like I started putting two and two together. And the way I describe it is, it's almost as if it's like you have the flu for 20 years, okay? And then all of a sudden somebody walks up to you and says, we got something to cure that, and they stick you with the needle, which is not pleasant at the time. But literally, it's like I was shot up with some kind of miracle drug. I had more energy. I had more happiness. I had less stress. And they even told me at the counseling center, they said, you really are different. This is after a few sessions, like 9 or 10 sessions. They said, you are a different person today than when you walked in here a few weeks ago. And of course, me, I'm like, well, I'm just me, I don't feel any different, So I started asking people, do I seem different to you? And they said, yeah, you kind of do. You seem different. And I thought, wow. I certainly felt different, because it was from one day to the next. I couldn't get over it. It was a miracle. There's no other way to describe it. Miracles come in all forms, and this was literally a miracle. At that exact time, that movie came along. I saw it, signed up, and here's the funny thing that they told me later. They had a sign-up sheet, and you've seen sign-up sheets. They got the lines. They got like, I don't know, 50 lines or 20 lines or something. I was the only one. And I'm talking about a room that was filled with at least between 200 and 300 people. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one, but I was the only one who signed that sheet. They told me that later. I was floored over that one. But, it's all in the timing. It all happened just the way it was supposed to.
It's all relative.
And I was, there's no other way to say it than to say it was a miracle, and praise God, I was healed.
Yes, yes. And you know what? I thank you so much for sharing your story. My goodness, this is a great story, you guys. Like, I'm gonna put everything else in here and the little tidbits and different things like that. Um, I want you to know this guy is the real deal. Like, you can just tell and feel his energy, and it's just kind of very just it's somber. It's very somber. It's supposed to just kind of like take your spirit and just, take it down a couple of notches just to be able to hear what is coming to you into your heart. And very he's how tall are you?
Six
Because you
two.
look, yeah, I figured you were six something. I'm like, he's a big guy. But not to say that if he's a big guy that he's tough or anything like that. But the fact is, you can be anything or any size or any nationality, and you can be any person because everybody deals with such stuff and everybody deals with it differently. But I find more men do it this way. I find that they do push it down and keep the
Mhm.
walls up. Push it
Right.
down, keep those walls up. And so the whole purpose of the interview was to do the book. But he, if anything, he gave us a message in our hearts, and I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciative of his time and his energy and his spirit and his heart. You guys don't understand. I am sitting up here and I'm like filled. I'm like, okay, now I need a nap.
A lot of people like to talk to me because they don't have to talk very much. They I talk and they listen, and I have to catch myself on that, because if you give me half a chance, man, I can really be a motor mouth. So
Hey, that's okay. All I ask you to do is record it for me and I will put it on my podcast. It's not a problem.
sounds good. It sounds good. I really
So you
appreciate you having me on. I appreciate your listeners, whoever's listening out there. I just want you to know that my message, just uh, real quick, I want you to know, I want, if I could get your audience, and you, of course, to take away one thing, it's the name of my ministry. The name of my ministry is no accident. The name of my ministry is called Keep Going. Because there are people, and you've not met them yet. There are people that depend on you to keep going. If you think about, we watched the movie Hidden Figures the other day, and so man, what a great movie. Think about it. What if those ladies would not have kept going? But they had everything against them. They had racism, sexism, bigotry. They had, I think at one point in the movie, one lady was having to walk half a mile to the bathroom because there were segregated bathrooms, and her bathroom, she was black, and the only bathroom for her was in another building halfway across the campus. What if she and the rest of those ladies would have just said, well, to heck with it. There are men who go to space today that have never met them. There are people that depend on you no matter what you've got against you. There are people that depend on you to keep going. So my advice is to pray and keep going.
Yes. Woohoo. Yes. Okay, you guys, like, share, subscribe. His information will be in the description. We want to get your comments because of the fact that I'm going to ask Mr. Ricky back on. We want to be able to answer your questions or maybe a statement that you have on there just to get, just validation from Brother Ricky. It's, hey, you guys, it's all relative. We're definitely going to try to pull some heartstrings to healing. And we just want everyone to just love on somebody for a change. I mean, albeit we can't do it right now in our present climate, you guys. I don't want to be disruptive or anything about that. But at the same
Well,
time, like, if anything, we need it more now than we ever did.
right now, I'm reminded of that great American movie classic Grease, where she said, "If you can't be an athlete, at least you can be an athletic supporter."
Hmm. I forgot about that.
Little joke there, little joke there. So you can be an encourager, is what I'm trying to say. If you can't do anything else, you can encourage somebody.
Yes, yes. And you never know what that's going to open up in your life. So, if you give, it can be given back to you. Press down, shaking together, running over. We appreciate it. Thank you
Amen.
so much for joining Lady Maya, living your best life. And we are going to sign off here. We just love you guys. Please, I do this not for myself or the people that I interview, but I do it because we got to show love. And if you don't have love in your life or love in your heart, like, you can be so cold, and it's like you kind of like you said, you build that wall, and then you're less likely to actually have something good come in because of those walls. I tell
Mhm.
my kids all the time, a closed fist can't get anything. And so they know that to be true. Okay, mommy, give me money. No. But the option's there.
Right.
Oh gosh, thank you so much for joining Lady Maya and Ricky Griffin, you guys. And I hope you guys have the most wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Y'all be good to each other.
Yes.